Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continually teach us this truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's laboring in his word and truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this could be an edifying video. All right, it's not going to be a long one. Okay, the title is going to be Hyperinflation is coming. Okay, and we see that inflation is not being checked. Okay, the dollar is constantly losing value. Okay, these other countries don't trust it. And, you got Russia, China, India, they're calling for a digital BRICS. Okay, to where they're trying to separate from using dollars. Okay, and, China recently is calling for the petro yuan to be the global, pretty much to be the dominant, pretty much to be over the dollar. Okay, and, I didn't look into how much gold China has, but, pretty much everybody is in a race right now to find ways to get around the dollar. And we know everything is going to go digital. All right. But as you see right here, I got this, Jackson Hinkle put this up, which, he puts out, a lot of good news, a lot of good information. And it says breaking, Iran has calculated that by closing the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices could rise from $70 to $200 a barrel. And this is major. Okay. And Iran, yes, indeed, has said that if the U.S. or Israel attacks them, that they're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, man, and it will be all-out war. Okay, and over 20% of, the world's oil goes through that area, I believe. Okay, I could look that back up, but it's something around that. You could look that up and fact check that, but this is major, okay, because if oil prices goes up, everything goes up, okay? And I spoke with ChatGPT about it. I'm going to pull up the conversation, okay? And this is right out of the scriptures because hyperinflation is in the scriptures, okay? I'm going to grab it. And, it's inevitable at this point because the dollar is constantly losing value. That's why it seems like prices is going up when in reality it's just costing more dollars to buy the goods that you're trying to buy. Okay. So I asked Chat how much is oil per barrel right now. And pretty much according to today, which is February 3rd, 2026. All right. The year of apostates, sellouts, agents, and Jacob's trouble. It says current oil is approximately, which I could have asked Google, is approximately $62 to $66 per barrel right now. So I asked what would happen if it hits $200 per barrel. And that's just a ballpark number. It can get way higher than that. Okay, it says if oil ever shot up to $200 per barrel, it would be a major global shock. Not a little more expensive gas, more like everything gets hit. Here's how it would play out in real life. Gas and energy, what do you feel first? Gas prices could jump to $6 to $9 per gallon in many U.S. states, higher elsewhere, which it'll be higher out west. It'll reach these numbers on the East Coast. Okay. And it could get higher than that. And this is major, man, because diesel will spike even harder, as it says. Trucking, shipping, farming all get crushed, which means what? It costs more to deliver goods, which means what? The goods are going to cost more. You see that? It says heating oil and natural gas prices rise, higher winter bills. Okay. Result, commuting, deliveries, and utilities all hurt your wallet immediately. Food and everyday goods. Oil touches everything. Food is grown with diesel-powered equipment, shipped by truck, rail, ship, packaged using petroleum products. So groceries jump fast, especially meat, produce, imported foods. Restaurants raise prices or close. Shortages can happen if transport costs get too high. This is real inflation, not just corporate greed. And we're already in inflation. So this would be hyperinflation. And then you got to consider people would panic buy. And then not only would people panic buy, people would panic loot, panic steal. Okay? Which would speed up famine. Okay, it says at $200 per barrel oil, inflation likely surges into double digits. Central banks like the Fed are forced to keep rates high or raise them, kill borrowing, housing, and business growth. Possible outcomes: recession, layoffs, stock market volatility, or crashes. Oil spikes have historically preceded economic downturns. Okay, transportation and travel. Flights become way more expensive. Fewer routes, fewer flights, shipping delays, used car part prices spike again, especially fuel-efficient vehicles, EVs and hybrids, suddenly look very attractive, which they want, everybody to be in EVs anyway. Okay, winners versus losers, oil and gas companies, energy exporters, Middle East, Russia, some U.S. producers, gold and hard assets often rise as inflation hedges, and that's why we're seeing gold and silver, go up at an all-time high, because there's a loss of trust in the U.S. dollar. Okay, so it says protests and unrest in fuel-dependent countries. Okay, war, de-escalation, or escalation. Oil has caused both, which there's going to be war. Okay, so it says if oil hits $200, your money buys way less, life feels tighter, everything from groceries to rent feels heavier, is one of the fastest ways to stress an economy. So this is the path that we're heading, because Iran did indeed say that. And it's looking very likely that the U.S. or the tiny tops may do a preemptive strike, which drags the U.S., which we always bring out the scripture in Jeremiah 50. The least of the flock shall draw them out. Them tiny tops is what's pulling the U.S. into a war, which will escalate into a global World War III, or as the Bible calls it, the War of Armageddon. Which Armageddon in the Hebrew is Armageddon, which means mountain of troops. Okay, so the Lord is getting this thing ready, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab. Let's start off here in Revelation 6. Okay, because this is going to cause hyperinflation, which will lead to famine, and people will resort to cannibalism and other, dire situation acts. This is Revelation chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse. I'm going to go straight to the point. Verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Now reading this in the NLT, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. You see that? Because the penny represents a day's pay. So say if you making $20 an hour and you do an 8-hour shift, that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. That's about $160 a day before taxes. After taxes, you're making about 110, 120, possibly 130 that day. That's how much it's going to cost you for a loaf of bread. So it's going to get that bad. It's going to get that bad. And this is a part of the agenda of the elites anyway. Okay, they want the population to be under 500 million. So they already expect a lot of death. It's going to be more pestilence. I got to see what's going on with that Nipah virus in India. See if it's spread to anywhere else yet. They say it's no cure, and it's damn near, guaranteed you're going to die if you get it. Damn near. Okay. But, what was I saying? So pretty much, everything is going to go up. All right. And I see war being the perfect catalyst to usher in the whole digital blockchain system, which is already set up. It's already ready. Okay. They're building these AI compounds, and it's everything's in motion. It's just a matter of how are they going to introduce it to the people. Okay, and we know this current economy has to collapse. The FRN has to be done away with. Okay, so war, it looks like the perfect catalyst to get the ball rolling. All right, and this will definitely lead to famine. Okay, and when you read, which the scripture speaks about famine, matter of fact, I think it mentions that in 2nd Edge 15. Let's see. 15. Yep. I start at verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So the Lord is going to bring famine. And this will lead to famine. Okay? Very quickly, because people are going to be afraid. All right? And I've been playing this game called DayZ a lot recently. And, that pretty much gets you in the mindset of the times that we about to be, where people, find, goods, and you can't trust anybody. All right. Because this time it's not going to be like the Great Depression. All right. Where you had communities come together. People knew how to till the earth. People were able to survive. The scriptures say, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We're in a time where nobody knows how to fish. Nobody knows how to grow their own crops. Everybody trusts on the government. Everybody trusts going to the grocery store. So people are going to kill, man. And take, when you jump to verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So, people are going to do these things because it's going to be a lack of bread. It's going to be famine. All right. And because of great tribulation. So people are going to rob each other. The modern day sword is the gun. People are going to kill each other for food, man. It's going to get real bloody out here. And the only ones that's going to get through and be delivered are those that have the covering of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, beginning with the elect men. Okay. Beginning with the 144,000. Okay. On down to the 1/3 remnant, the men, women, and children that's also going to be delivered. Okay. Very serious times, man. And Lord willing, they do hit them. Lord willing, by this weekend, we hoping soon, man. Okay, so the ball can get rolling. All right. And a lot of people are going to die of famine. Let me grab that. The 2nd Edges chapter 16, or it might be 2nd Edges 6. Let's see if it's here, though. Oh, here it is. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth. Oh, 2nd Edges 6 goes into the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. That's what this is all going to lead to. Okay, but read verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So if you escape the famine, you're going to die by either a gun or by the nuclear destruction, which will be the second death. But many people are going to die of famine, man. And many people going to resort to cannibalism. Many people going to eat the family dog, the family cat, the family hamster. People are going to get more desperate than ever, man. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So it's about to get real bad out here, man. On some Last of Us type shit. On some, what's the Walking Dead type shit, man. It's about to get real bad out here, man. The scriptures say a time that has never been, man, nor shall ever be. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, and the elect will be delivered. A majority of our people here in Babylon the Great will die. A lot of death is coming, man. Okay? A lot of death is coming. All right? I'm going to grab this real quick, and I'm going to wrap it up. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruit of the field. So it's better to just die by, get gunned down than to die by hunger. You don't know when you're going to die. And according to Esau, you can go like 30 days or 2 months, something like that, without eating. But you can only go like 2-3 days without drinking. All right, so people going to lose their mind, man. People going to commit a lot of faithless acts. All right, it says the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. And, the famine in Samaria goes into that. Women were eating their own sons, man. And that's when women were more in order. They were more women. They were more of a woman than they are today. So imagine today. You had Jake had that dream that women were willing to leave their kids just to be with a man. It's about to get real, real, real brutal out here, man. All right, but Lord willing, this was an edifying video. With that, I'm going to say shalom.